I'ma fuck up my life. I'ma fuck up my life.
Ooh, what's going on, traders? My name is Chuck Butler, and you are tuning into the Friday recap, September 2018, week 2. And yes, as you saw in the thumbnail, sadly, I am quitting the stock market, and I am becoming I'm becoming a rapper. No, that's a lie. I really can't rap. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm not quitting. My willpower is impeccable. And yes, before you ask, I don't know how to spell that. But anyway, let's get into it. There, I am down 5.2% for the week. Yeah, I'm down about 5.2% for this week. Yeah, boo hoo, cry me a river, yada yada. Moving on. Still optimistic for every week ahead, as usual. Now let's go ahead and get into this. As you can see from my focused list, we are only going to be talking about 4 tickers today, and those are the ETFs and common stock that I traded. I do understand that I did put the options in the thumbnail, but until I become more familiar with them and I formulate better strategies, I won't be discussing them that as much as what I usually trade, which is the ETFs and the common stocks. So until I get better with that, I'm gonna go ahead and keep that on my own personal level and with my roommate, because me and him are trading options, and we're trading the market, but both we're both practicing on our options right now. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. We have ticker symbol TNDM, NIO. Yeah, you heard it, NIO. TQQ, and then DGAS. Here, let me go ahead and take out SPY. I don't trade SPY. I just have that on the side to watch how the market conditions are, so I can play accordingly to what happens. Okay, so let's go over the first one. Ticker symbol DGAS. I don't. DGAS is the bearish the 3 times leveraged ETF for natural gas. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but some of my viewers do. But I don't like trading DGAS. I really get frustrated reading the natural gas charts, and I just don't just short story long. Yeah, short story long. I don't like trading DGAS. Um, or you guys. I tend to stay away from natural gas now. But let's me show you what I did on the 12th. Yes, the 12th is going to be Wednesday. All right. For DGAS right here, as you can see, I entered at 23.65 and exited at 23.40. The reason I entered this is because it broke the 240 resistance it had right here. As you can see from the previous day, it used 240 as a support, but because it dropped below that, this could possibly act as a resistance, which it did right here in this area, pulled back, and then it broke that. So I was expecting what DGAS to do is I was going to play it from that breakout and go ahead and play it up to 24, but that wasn't the case. It got rejected at around 23.70, and I have my stop loss set at 23.40 because I was only using this as a day trade. I did not want to swing DGAS, so I went ahead and stop lossed out around this white bubbly area, and yeah, that's the end of the trade. My lesson I could have learned while trading this is I should have paid more attention. I should have paid more attention to uh, natural gas. This is the future that natural gas. This is the future that this is the natural gas future that DGAS and UGAS follows. And let's go here on the 12th. Let's see, right here. As you can see that natural gas, it wasn't showing signs of it continuing. It wasn't showing signs of an uptrend, and it was hitting the resistance right here and here at 284. But I failed to see that it actually broke that, pulled back, and then started to trend up to and it got hit over here by by the resistance at 286. So yeah, if I do decide to trade that in the future, again, I need to make sure I'm always looking at the natural gas chart. So yeah, there's that. Let's go over to ticker symbol TQQ. Okay, we talked about this one on the previous Stock Talks Sunday. This one was my favorite one because of the pattern it had. As you can see, it has this ascending uptrend pattern. As you can see, it bounces back and forth in between the two trend lines, and what you do is you buy near the bottom and you sell near the top. Pretty consistent, pretty simple. As you can see, these four gigantic white bubble zones. What I've noticed with this oh, hold up, my battery is indicating that it's about to die. Give me 1 second. Uh, Okay, we are back. All right then. So that should be good. Right. I have a Dell laptop. These things just run out of. I wish I had an Apple laptop because the Windows laptops, they just run out of battery so fast. I'm really frustrated with every. I mean, it's a good laptop. Don't get me wrong, but it just runs out of battery too fast. So did my last Windows one, but that's on for another. Ooh, that's a new video segment. The Apple Macs versus laptops. Ooh, all right, noting that down. All right, back to the breakdowns. As you can see, these what I noticed with this certain ticker. Oh, TQQ. It's a ETF, and it has an inverse. What was it? SQQQ. Ah, yes. SQQQ, and as you can see, this one is in the descending trend line pattern here. Let me go ahead and draw that out. Boom, boom. And you could short this one if you wanted to. How you could play these two is that you as soon as TQQQ hits the resistance, just go ahead and buy the bottom of this, and then just keep playing these back and forth, and then you should have consistent profits. But um, let's go ahead and go back, and the index that it follows is QQ. If you guys want to go ahead and mark this down for the consistent ascending uptrend patterns for pretty simple plays, if you want to follow them. TQQQ. Let me go back. Okay, so what I've noticed is that as soon as it pulls back from its resistance and it hits its support, it usually consolidates between certain price points for about 5 days. Then it starts to break out and continue the uptrend here. Let me go ahead and draw the white bubble zone for this one. Yeah, it's gonna be right there. All right. As you can see, I already have my plan right here to trade it. From 65 to 73 offers 12.31%. I would enter at 68.50 and exit at 73. Stop loss with a stop loss at 68, and that margin that it would cover if I did take part in that trade would be 6.57%. But what I saw it doing on the 13th, which is Thursday, here, let me go ahead and zoom in on the action for you guys. Ooh, this is a big zone. Here, let me go ahead and remove that for now. Okay, as you can see, this white zone right here, this is where I entered. I entered around, I entered around 67.75 with 13 shares, and I exited around 66.30. Now, as you can see, I did like I said, I did enter at 65.75 because I saw that it was having a continuous uptrend, and it even bounced from the EMA, and it broke the 68 resistance as well. Well, that was before I got in, but I uh, I felt that it would continue to trend up, which it did for a while until it hit a resistance at 68.50, my buy-in point. So realistically, what I should have done is stuck to my plan and waited for confirmation, but I did not. And then this problem that I never had a name for, I finally figured out a name for it. I call it the what was it? I call it the oh what was that word? Oh, I call it the ultimatum. As you can see, once you're swing trading, or you're day trading and the stock suddenly goes against you and it drops like really fast before you can even decide to like hit the sell button, you have to keep re-entering your sell point because it just keeps dropping. Well, what I usually run into is that um when I'm swing trading, it sells off the next morning, but it sells off near the support, and that's where the ultimatum comes in. Do I want to sell right now with this massive loss, or do I want to stay in and wait to see if it's going to continue its pattern of bouncing from support? You have two options. You can wait for it to bounce at support, or you can chance it breaking support, uh, ma- breaking support, making lower lows, and this one contradicts certain rules that I follow because I like to cut my losses if I'm losing, but I'm near support. The support is an area of demand where a high demand is. As you can see, it bounced from right here. I exited around. Wait, is this here on? No, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Okay, this is the day. Okay, yeah. I exited around here near the support on the trend line, and that's what I also encountered with the upcoming ticker TNDM. So let me know in the comments below if you have had the same problem. We're calling it the ultimatum. And what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to make sure to cut my losses before I should have cut my losses before um uh, as soon as it broke where I bought in, which is around 67.75, and I lost about 2.44% on this trade. So yeah, that was on me. So yeah, and oh yeah, and then it bounced from the trend line that I drew on the 4-hour chart, and it continued to trend up. And then here is where I would have bought in at 68.50 pre-market, and then rode it up to 73. But it did make highs of 70.41, but it did pull back to lows of 68.25, and it bounced from there. And right now it's just hanging around that this area of 68.90. But yeah, I thought that the consolidation period ended for this, but it turns out they just had one more day in it, and that's where I decided to exit. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to ticker symbol. I think I'm gonna save ticker symbol NI for the last one because that one is the juiciest one. Okay, as you can see, this is ticker symbol TNDM. It is a diabetes company, and let me go on the 4-hour chart. Do you see this pattern right here? It's just a continuous ascending uptrend pattern. I'm not sure if you guys saw any others like this week, but I have about four. I can't remember the tickers. I know one of them is TLRY. That's uh, a weed stock. But with uh, with ticker symbols like this, there's a lot of FOMO. But with that FOMO, a there are consistent patterns of it holding above the EMAs. As you can see, it never really broke. It never really fully broke the EMA. Sometimes it did, but as soon as it went back above it, it started to continue its uptrending pattern. And here, let me go ahead and zoom in. I'm not gonna lie, I did get in this one based on the hype and the news around it because it just kept continuing to make higher highs and higher highs. And I was like, okay, let me take a small position. When realistically, I never should have took a small. I never should have took any position. First of all, I didn't even know where the resistance is. If I would have played this, it would have been at the bounce over here the next day, not at highs of 52.50. That was a terrible mistake on my part. This was a simple mistake. You know, trading with emotions. The emotion was the hype. And then I should have cut, and then I entered the ultimatum with this as well. So I got in. So I got in. Let's see. This is the 13th. Yes, I got in on Thursday with about 10 shares at 51.80, and I exited at 46.30, and I lost about. This has been my biggest loss in a while. It's 10.62%. I swung it until Friday, and then I held it because it did bounce off of the support at 46, and it continued to trend up. But what I didn't like about this is that it couldn't break above both EMAs. As you can see, this first time it started to trend up, it couldn't break above the 55-day EMA. Trended back down, tried to come back up. It got rejected here, got rejected there, got rejected there. It kept getting rejected. So even before that, I just decided to get out because I believed it was going to start forming a wedge and eventually it was going to break down. So I just decided to just cut my losses, but I cut my losses near the support, that ultimatum thing again. That the the ultimatum thing I was talking about. And then as soon as I cut my losses, I went ahead and closed out for the day and started to do my other, you know, activities or projects. And it bounced and then it broke above both EMAs, and now it's starting it's starting to show signs that it's going to trend up again. But yeah, that was my mistake on this trade. I bought in on the hype and I didn't cut my losses quick enough. But I was patient because it was bouncing from support. But I identified that it couldn't break above the EMA, so I decided to get out because that showed signs of weakness if it can't even break the EMAs. So yeah, there's that trade, and then let's go to ticker symbol NIO. I recovered a good a decent amount of my account with this one if this decides to load. But NIO was one of the big hype plays this weekend. It's basically um, people were calling it the Chinese Tesla. It is a Chinese. It is a Chinese. It is a Chinese. It is a Chinese automobile company, and it was being pumped pretty hard. Why isn't it loading? Give it a sec. Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you my what I did with this one. I bought in at 9.15 with 40 shares, and my plan was to sell it at 10. Yes, I did believe it can reach 10 because in the afternoon, and this had over 3 million volume, which means people are out for lunch, so that means the stock market slows down, and people and there but there are some people that but there are a good chunk of people left over scrounging to get a trade in so they can go ahead and get out for the day because um the they missed their entry points in the morning. And if they find something that has as much volume as Neo had, everybody's going to be trading it. It kept breaking resistance. It had news. It had news. It had volume, and it had the hype. So yes, that is why I believed it could go to 10. And when I usually day trade, something under when I usually day trade a stock or ETF that's under $10, I usually only play the whole dollar breaks or the half dollar breaks, and I usually win about, I'd say about like 50% of the time. But yeah, if you're buying, it doesn't make sense to me if you're buying into anything else. Like if you're buying at like near a resistance, which I did, or just buying that like 910 or like somewhere random. I did try to get filled at 9, but it filled me at 9:15 because it just made 2 bars up and it just trended back up. And then I got in on the pullback. Why isn't it loading? My God. Uh yeah, I have no idea why it's not loading. It's probably Thinkorswim. They're probably doing maintenance right now. Out of all the times they have to be doing, let me see if it. What the heck? Oh yeah, but I already told you my plan. I made about 4.92% on that in about 15 minutes. It did reach highs of 14 aftermarket that day. I did have some of my colleagues saying that it could be a good hold overnight, which I wasn't knocking them because it had the news and the hype behind it, I want but I'm trying to work on locking in my profits. This was a really good trade, and if I would have had put in a bit more, it would have been even better. I day traded this one on the 13th. I would have bought more, but I put half my but the other half of my account was in the glorious TNDM, so I didn't have that much to work with. But from 915 to 960, 4.92, it's pretty cool, if you ask me. I The reason that I decided to exit was because it hit a resistance at 980, and I set a stop. And since I'm trading on Robinhood, I don't have the ability to set a trailing stop loss. So I decided to keep moving my stop loss up every 10 cents that it broke. So um, that means I should have set my stop loss at 970, but I did have to go and uh, start running some errands. So I just decided to cut it at 960. That was good enough for me. That's why I was decided to just take profits, and it it hit 960, then it bounced off of then it bounced off of 960 and continued to trend up to 10. But I wasn't there to witness it trending up to 10. And then I was talking with somebody in the chat group that I'm a part of, and they were explaining to me how they didn't believe that it could get to 10, but my argument was that if something has the news and the volume, and it's around between like 12 and 2, people are going to be wanting to trade, people are going to be wanting to trade this. And if it's breaking whole dollar points and half dollar points, it's going to be hitting people's alerts. It's going to attract a bunch of attention, and everybody's going to want a piece of the pie. So what I decided to do is I decided to take a piece of the pie, not a big piece, a small piece, and It was pretty good. It wasn't fulfilling, but it was good. It would have been fulfilling if I held if I held it past 10. That would have been awesome. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video here because NIO is not deciding to load. So the bad things on this weekend is that I need to work. Next week I need. Next week. Let me talk to you about next week first. Next week I am going to just start the day trading, or not just start, not just day trade, but for a month I've been analyzing forward/CL, that's gas, and I've been analyzing gold, and I've been tracking and mapping out how I would want to play their inverses, which I have talked about before, drip and gush. Those are the leverage to 3 times oil inverse ETFs, and then JNUG and JDST, the leverage gold 3 times ETFs. And I think I'm ready to start playing them because they what I have concluded with my research is that each ticker, if you're patient enough and you wait for the right setup, they can cover about 3 to 5% in a day, and I'm only looking to capture 3% of that. So we'll see how that goes next week. That means no options, no common stocks, just the straight up ETFs, and yeah, we'll see how that goes because it is pretty consistent from what I've written down and what I've seen. It's pretty consistent. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I will this week I will start rolling out a this week I will start rolling out different videos. I have a friend coming in tomorrow to help me film some stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. And then I have something for to I do have something for you guys on Sunday as well. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Go ahead. I hope you guys had a very profitable weekend, better than me. And make sure to go over your trades and figure out what you did wrong and what you did right and what you could have done better. And that's all. Go ahead and have a nice weekend and make sure to stay on the grind. This is Chuck, and I'm out.